out by a second-year NFLer. He is the Green Bay Packers' leading receiver this season. Had a big game last night in a win over Detroit. A former All-American out of Kentucky. Last night he had 7 receptions for 102 yards, and the Packers beat Detroit 27-20. Randall Cobb is my guest. Randall, so good to have you on. How are you?
Doing great, Jim. How you doing?
Randall, I'm great. Thank you for doing it. Good to have you. 7 receptions, 102 yards, and you did it in the sleet and the snow and the rain and the cold. When the conditions are like that, Randall, how does that impact the passing game?
It's tough. It's very tough on you. I think the biggest thing is you just got to focus in a little bit harder. You got to have that extra focus and extra concentration to make the plays when they're there to be made.
All right, so you took the visor off last night, right?
Yeah, I did. I went out in pregame, and I tried it out there in pregame. It actually helped me out with the punt return and the kick returns, not letting the snowflakes hit me in the eyes. But in the passing game, it was a little difficult, so I decided to take it off.
You know, that cold weather, does it generally kind of dial you in and make you more focused, or does it just make everything that much tougher?
I think from guy to guy is different. For me, mentally, it prepares me a little bit more because I know I got to focus a little bit harder. I got to be a little more concentrated in everything I do and make sure my steps are more precise and my hand placement and everything whenever I'm making catches.
Randall Cobb joining us on the program. You know, I spoke to Aaron Rodgers a couple of weeks back. Randall, I asked him then if the Packers were a Super Bowl team, if they were Super Bowl good, and he said not yet, but I did ask him that a few weeks back. After that game and where you are right now, do you feel like you're Super Bowl good?
We're getting there. I think, moving forward, if we can continue to have the balance that we had last night with our running game, establishing a running game and open up the passing game and, just being able to feed off each other and having that balanced offense, if we continue to play the way we do and get some guys back healthy and, get our guys back on defense, I think we can be a dominant team going into playoffs and make a run. That's
2 weeks in a row you've run the ball extremely well. That was 140 yards last night. What's been the biggest difference on the ground game? How did that come together?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I think just the focus that we've had in putting in more work in our running game. We've been getting bashed about our running game from week to week, and we just want to come out and make a point. And I think our running backs really took that to heart. They were frustrated, and they've been running mad these last couple of weeks.
How about the offensive line? Did they also hear that, and did they take that to heart?
As well, I believe the offensive line as well. I think they took that to heart and they stepped up and done what they do.
Randall, watching that game last night, DeJuan Harris, man, he is a punishing back. He's a violent runner. I mean, obviously you knew that from him. How much of an impact do you think he'll have on that running game? And talk about the way he runs the ball.
He's a great back, especially when it comes to December, January, when it gets cold weather. I think he gets faster, he hits the hole harder, and he brings something to our team that we need.
I'm looking at your game, and now you're returning kicks. You line up in the backfield, you catch passes, you throw passes. I mean, is this the role you like? Are you happy being a jack of all trades guy, or would you like to just focus in on being a wide receiver?
It's pros and cons to everything. I really do enjoy doing everything. I just love the game of football so much. Anywhere I'm on the field, I'm having a good time. I'm enjoying it. And I think that's the biggest thing. Not only playing and working hard and trying to be the best player and best team that we can be, but also having fun while we're doing it. And being able to play all those different positions, I feel like I'm in the backyard playing with my friends again. All
right, so those are the pros. What are the cons?
I think the pros is the versatility, the matchup problems you can create offensively. I've been in so many different spots. The cons, obviously, you take a few more shots in return game. The more you touch the ball, the more vulnerable your body can be. But, I've been able to maintain my health for the most part over the past couple seasons, and also not being able to dial in on one position and perfect that craft. I'm doing so much I can't really dial into that one position, but I think collectively getting better at each position, I'm just going to continue to rise, hopefully.
It makes sense. Randall Cobb, my guest. You're right. When you're out there in so many different situations, it exposes you to big hits, but you've done a really nice job of avoiding that big hit. What's your strategy, and how do you go about that?
Just being smart. I mean, obviously, I pride myself on being a tough football player, playing with a lot of passion and, trying to make the big play whenever it's there. But you got to be smart, too, whenever you know that, you're surrounded and you can't get any more yards and getting down, just trying to make your pad level, shrink your pad level your target area, so it makes it harder for the defense to hit you. Just the little things that we work throughout practice with our pad level and, protecting ourselves from different hits.
You got to be smart, but at the same time, you got to be fearless when you play that game the way you play it and at your size. How fine is the line then between fearless and reckless?
I think it's been a fine line. I think that's something that I've grown more accustomed to over the past couple of years. I think last year, a few times on the kickoff returns, I ran a little too fearless at times, and it cost me. I took a few shots that I've kind of avoided this year. So I think in that sense, just being able to understand the game and understand field position and understand what I'm trying to accomplish as a returner and as a receiver.
Packer Randall Cobb joining us. If anybody can speak to the dangers of returning kicks, it's you. You just laid that out. What do you then make of the proposed rule or the speculation that the commissioner might try and ban kickoffs from the game?
I don't know. Right now at this moment, I really do enjoy doing that, and I really think it would take away from the game if you took it away. But, it's not going to be my decision. Whatever decision is made, we're going to have to go out there and play regardless. So, I'm looking forward to hearing what they're going to do with it. But, I really think it would take away from the game if they took kickoffs out.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it would take away from the game. In your opinion, would it make the game that much safer?
Honestly, I don't know. Because when you look at if they was talking about, I think they had mentioned punting the ball after a touchdown. If you look at it, I mean, up the field punts, if they did the statistics and saw how many guys got hurt on up the field punts, on blindside hits and crackback blocks and all that, I don't know if it will really make that big of a difference. So, I know they're trying to make the game safer, but at the same time, football is a violent sport. It's always been a violent sport. That's why the fans love it. So you can't really take too much away from the game, or you're going to take away. You might as well play flag football if that's the case.
Randall Cobb joining us, second-year player. And Randall, take me back to last offseason, Super Bowl week in Indianapolis. You bumped into head coach Mike McCarthy. You had a pretty interesting conversation with him. What did he tell you?
He pretty much told me he had some ideas, going back and looking at film, that he was looking forward to putting in some different schemes in our offense and, making me a little bit more versatile, putting me in different positions, and we were going to try it out in spring. And, we tried it out in spring, and it pretty much progressed from there. I was able to adapt to some of the things. A lot of the things that we were attempting to do was some of the things I did in college, so it made it a little easier. And it pretty much just took off from there, and the production level from that is just going up tremendously throughout the season.
Let me finally ask you this. Aaron Rodgers has said that you pretty much belonged from the moment you arrived in camp. I would imagine, and it's clear. I mean, I've talked to him and I see the way he plays with you. Obviously, he respects you. He trusts you. I mean, did you feel like the second you walked on that property that you did belong, or did you feel like I got to earn this guy's respect and that's going to take time, a lot of time maybe?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of both. I felt like I could play on this level. I felt like I could make a difference and be a playmaker at this level. But at the same time, I also knew that I had to gain his trust. I had to, go out there and work and put in the time and put in the effort and, continue to work hard and do the things that got me to this point, and try to take it from there. And, over the past couple of years, we've definitely grown and created a lot of chemistry between me and Aaron. And, he trusts me a lot more now. And hopefully it just continues to rise from here.
All right, finally, you're at Chicago this week. When you look at them right now, they're having a tough time. Do they look like they're wounded, or do they look dangerous to you because of that fact?
Both. I mean, they may look wounded, but at the same time, we know what Chicago is. We know what they're going to do. They know what we're going to do. It's going to be a hard-nosed division game, like it always is. Of course, we're going to go out there and jump on them early, but the biggest thing is, we've preached it for the past few weeks, is just to continue playing. We know it's going to be a tough-nosed game. We may be up at a time, may be down at a time, but just continue to play and find a way to win in the end.
Just 2 years in, and the Packers' leading receiver this season, 71 receptions. Randall Cobb, my guest. Randall, really appreciate you making time. Great to have you on. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, man.
Thank you, Randall. It's a big Randall Cobb house. I think he handles his business so well. I think he's a great player, great playmaker. Does not sound like a second-year player. I love the guy's game. This is a big Randall Cobb house. Packers leading receiver. Greg Jennings went down earlier this season, and suddenly they throw him into a much bigger role as a wide receiver. He's got that chemistry. He's got the trust. Obviously, the admiration of Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers says things like he's a star in the making. He said that GM Ted Thompson, that was his best draft pick ever. So Aaron Rodgers obviously loves him. And then he ultimately did go to, you know what, why don't you just put flags on us? And that's a really thoughtful guy. That's not a guy who's just spitting out a bunch of hype and smack. He's like, I see why they think that might make the game safer, but it's a big part of the game. And, punts, when you think about it, punts really aren't that much safer than kickoffs. And, well, yeah, just put flags on us. Packers PR man Jonathan Butnick helped turn that one around. Jonathan, thank you. Good looking out.